Hi, I'm Lerato Masia. I am a microbiologist at BGL Laboratory, and I'm also a friend, a daughter, a sister, an aunt. There's so many layers to me, so many dimensions to me as a person. But first and foremost, I would always introduce myself or describe myself as a child of God. And I think a lot of who I am is really enrooted in my values. So I align my values with the Word of God and particularly the fruits of the Spirit. That would be love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And I align myself with those values because as a child of God, Christ was the embodiment of those fruits of the Spirit. And as a child of God, you are also required to bear those fruits and to walk in the world and also be an embodiment of those fruits as Christ was. He was the living word, and words are spirit, right? And when you embody those words, when you embody values, that's when they come alive. That's when they live. Yes. Becoming a microbiologist first started with my interest in it started with my interest in working in the medical field. Hence, I started my journey by studying biomedicine and with the vision and the idea of one day working in a clinical setting. And I had that desire in my heart to work in the medical field because I love science. I find science to be so interesting and so fascinating. But, something beautiful about the medical field is that it is able to bridge the sciences with the humanities. So there's the science aspect of it, there's the biology aspect of it, and, working with the human body, but also people are at the center of it. So it's people-centered. So there's this connection with the sciences and also the humanities and just working with people. And I see that that's also something that takes place also in like your laboratory industry and also in microbiology as well. So initially that's how the journey started, that I would be working in the medical field. But then that's one of the most beautiful things about the medical field is that link between the sciences and the humanities, and it's very people-centered. But you also find those important aspects in the laboratory industry. You also find it in microbiology and in food microbiology. So even though my intention had initially been to go the medical route, but I've learned that working in the food industry and in food microbiology, you also have those aspects as well, because we as microbiologists, particularly food microbiologists, we play a role in public health. So we are the ones who test the food, we test the products, and we ensure that we give accurate results so that when we give our results back to our clients, when it goes back out into the industry, we ensure that whatever has been put out into the market is safe for use and it's safe for consumption. And so it plays, it has that important role in public health. And that's where, you have your sciences now bridging with your humanities. It's very people-centered because you care about the consumer. You think about what is it that people are going to be consuming, and you want to ensure that it's safe. Yes. Personal values that I thrive upon are respect. I believe that respect is vital. So you've heard many people saying that respect is earned, but I highly disagree. Respect is something that is mutual, because I respect somebody else simply because they are human. And, I would want that respect to be reciprocated because I'm a human being. And, that's what connects us, that we are human, and there's enough value in that. So you don't respect someone based on merit, and you don't respect someone based on gender or race or the fact that they've done something right or they've done something wrong, but you respect someone because that is a core value for each of us humans. It's something that's mutual, and therefore it's something that needs to always be reciprocated. I respect you and you respect me. And respect comes with so many other values and so many other aspects, like kindness and like the fruits of the spirit that we've just spoken about, because it's very difficult for you to say that I've loved someone, or that I've been patient with someone, or that I've been kind to someone without that respect aspect of it. Yes. And another value that I think I have is, or a value that I think is important to me, is service. So I believe that a life of service is a life of purpose, because everything else, on its own, that exists on its own, can exist in vain. But when there is God centered in it, and when there is service centered in it, then there's purpose. Say my personal values fuel my business values, in that my values are what allow me to conduct myself in a certain way, and also they allow me to just to have a guideline on certain decisions, different decisions that I have to make. And I can apply that in my personal life, and I can also apply that in my business life. And also just the fact that business, although it operates with all other aspects, like your finances or commercial things, or you need to have skills for certain kind of business, but I think what also matters is ethics. And I think that values can also guide ethics and conducting business in an ethical manner. It's very hard to conduct business in an ethical manner without values. So I had first heard of MiChem dynamics and VGL dimensions just around the time when I was about to graduate university. So I was looking for opportunities for internships, and I was part of a group chat, a work integrated learning group chat. It was around the COVID time, so it was very difficult for a lot of people to find opportunities at the time. But I was fortunate enough to have found an ad about a 3-day training, an ISO 17025 3-day training, where 10 candidates will be given the opportunity to partake in this training for free. And, by the grace of God, and fortunately, I was able to be selected. I was selected as one of those candidates that partook in that Sikula Gunye initiative, where we got the free ISO 17025 3-day training. And so that was the first time that I had heard of MiChem dynamics and VGL dimensions. And the first people that I had encountered, right? You encounter the people who are working in that company, are obviously on an online platform. I had noticed the way that they had conducted themselves. They conducted themselves with so much professionalism, but that professionalism was accompanied with a humanness to them. So they were so professional, but it didn't feel cold and distant. They were able to connect with you on a very human level. You could just see from the interactions that I would have with them, the kinds of the kind of qualities that they had, the kind of values that they had. So the way they treated us candidates spoke a lot about the values of the company and also the culture. For me, it means upholding values and being of service to other people, always being people-centered, and it means that there will be a bright future. So I see a future in this company, and I also see this company in the future. So I think that there's a certain vision that we have of what we would like the future to look like, even with the type of culture that we want in our company, the type of culture that we desire for most companies to have. And, it's a very bright future. And I see that future in MiChem and in VGL, and I also see VGL Dimensions and MiChem Dynamics in that bright future. Civil rights activist and leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that says, if I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. So I believe that I give my all in the little that I do, because saving lives, changing lives, creating a better future, and fighting inequality is such a mammoth goal. Like, it's such a huge goal that it's not something that you can achieve all in one day, but it's the steps that you take towards doing those things. It's the little that you do. It's the little bit of service and the good deeds that you put your all into that can allow you to head towards that goal. So I believe in just giving my all in the little that I do in order to achieve that changing lives, saving lives, creating a better future, and fighting inequality. But also working with others is very vital because one man cannot fulfill, this great purpose that we seek to fulfill. I think about it in terms of just even what we've learned as science students and as biologists is that, the universe is made up of matter, and that matter smaller parts called atoms. And the main purpose of an atom is to build and form bigger structures. Atoms literally form everything that we see in the universe. They form the moon, they form the stars, they form the sun, they form everything that we see on Earth. They even form us. But something interesting about an atom is that it cannot fulfill its great purpose of building all these great structures on its own. It needs all the other atoms around it. You can even think about it in terms of the human body. The human body is comprised of all these different parts and all these different body organs. And, each body organ and each part has its own specialized function. Just as people, each of us are different. Each of us have our own different personality types, our own different backgrounds. We are all different in our own special way. And that's the same with body parts. They have their own special functions, but one body part cannot form the whole body, cannot make the whole body work as it does. You need all these organs, you need all these parts to come together, to work in unison, to work cohesively, to make the body function at an optimal level as it does. You can even think about the brain. The brain is one of the most fascinating organs in the body. It's the powerhouse of the body with all its ability to process information and, to conjure up innovative and creative ideas. But then the brain cannot serve its purpose it cannot lead, like for instance, it cannot serve its purpose of leading the body of leading and directing without the body and without all the other parts of the body. What is a finger without a hand, for instance? What is a finger without all the other fingers? So all these parts need each other to form systems, and then those systems work together to form one body. And that's the same even for a company that's trying to fulfill that those values or that purpose of changing lives, saving lives, creating a better future, and fighting inequality. Those goals are really huge goals, and one person cannot do them on their own. You need all these different people who come together and work cohesively and work in unison to be able to achieve that successfully. To just keep having faith and keep having hope. So even though it is tough, I'm a big believer in always having faith and always having hope, even though there are certain challenges in life that can be, quite exhausting. But to just keep going and, to just keep God at the center of everything. Remember that God had said that I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. So just keep trusting in those plans. You may not always be certain of what the future will look like, but there is somebody who already does, and you are in good hands. You are in his hands. Yes. Excited for the future, excited to be on this journey of changing lives, saving lives, creating a better future, and fighting inequality. Because I believe that is the bright future that's the bright future we are headed towards. Yes.